Welcome to the commentary booth, where we watch, and you guessed it, commentate on the movies and TV show that we've watched during the week. I'm your host and play-by-play commentator, Jamie Apps. Each week I'll be joined by a rotating cast of colour commentators to help you find your next viewing treat. This week I'm joined by a teacher and travel blogger who lists their favourite movie as Fight Club and favourite TV show as Band of Brothers. Welcome to the show, Buddy McClelland.
Thanks for having me back.
How's life? Locked down still?
Good. I need to change travel blogger to stuck at home blogger. I'm not even blogging about it. I'm just stuck at home.
Just trapped in a never-ending cycle of not being able to go anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, we moved house, so that's exciting. I've got to at least change the scenery in the four walls that I'm stuck in. But that's good. That's about as far as I've travelled.
Yeah, at least you're looking at 4 fresh new walls.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice.
Still the same colour, but they're new.
Yeah, still the same suburb too, really. It's not that different. Internet's better.
That's right. Wandered past a nice little protest over the weekend.
Yeah. Oh, so frustrating. It's like you sit here, you try and do the right thing and follow all the rules and all the new restrictions, and you walk past and we're walking through and there's this crowd noise. I thought there shouldn't be crowd noise right now. Like, it's only supposed to be 2 people at a time, whatever it is. And there would have been, they said it was thousands. It was maybe 200 people standing there, all dressed like idiots, hugging and with signs saying you can't mandate vaccinations and all the rest of it, but basically just ruining it for the rest of us. Yeah, I guess it's just one of those things with the internet that people believe things that they shouldn't and get all twisted up. And I understand the frustration of being stuck at home, but I don't think that means you go and risk it for the rest of us. I find it pretty selfish.
Oh, 100%. Like, stuck here doing the right thing for the last 5 weeks, and now probably be stuck here for another 5 weeks thanks to those people that decided they don't like this.
Yeah, and I mean, it was even to the point where I saw people walking past because we had masks on as we were walking. They were yelling at people that were wearing masks, take your mask off and breathe freedom.
Yep.
Come on, mate. Like, you're going to breathe in COVID and you're going to be the first person to want healthcare that we're paying for.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're going to be the first people that complain when they're sick and there's no hospital beds or their family gets sick because of it.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating to think they could be taking somebody's hospital bed eventually that will need it, that was doing the right thing. So, yeah, it's nasty that, like we say, we're all in it together, but obviously it's not everybody.
Yep. Apart from obviously all that negativity, what have you been? What else have you been up to checking out?
Look, I've got new internet and I have been smashing Netflix. We got stuck. It feels like they've released a bunch of new stuff with all the streaming services recently, but before that, we got stuck on a real retro marathon. We went back through and did all the Back to the Futures. Went into all the Harry Potters. Then we went into all the Hunger Games.
Holy dooly.
Then wardrobe. Now we're into all the Daniel Craig James Bonds. So I've got a lot of time to watch.
That's a lot of stuff. How's Anne finding the James Bond?
She suggested it. She only wanted the Daniel Craig ones, which makes me a little bit concerned. But I'm loving James Bond. It's good.
Yeah, do you feel like she has an ulterior motive there with those specific Bond movies?
Look, I'm a massive James Bond fan, and I cannot blame her. Man is ripped.
Yeah, fair enough.
It was funny though. Like, I'm watching the Harry Potters. It led us into on Stan. There's a show called Miracle Workers.
Okay. Yep. The what's his name?
Is it Radcliffe?
That's it.
Yeah, so we watched that, and then all of a sudden, as we were finishing the Harry Potters, that Miracle Workers popped up. I thought, like, we always talk about how Harry Potter specifically, like Daniel Radcliffe, is typecast as Harry Potter for the rest of his life.
Yep.
So I thought, I'll give this show a chance and see how it goes. So it's a show where it's all based off the writings of a bloke named Simon Rich. So originally it starts with a story about angels trying to solve people's problems and actually get people's prayers answered, and how impossible it is. And Daniel Radcliffe is the angel in charge of that, and Steve Buscemi is God.
Okay. Yep. Interesting.
So I
choice
mean,
for
you
God.
already, yeah. So it's just really fun to watch Daniel Radcliffe. You can just see he's just taken the role with both hands and just gone, if people think I'm Harry Potter, I'm going to make this the most outrageous, out there, un-Harry Potter performance of my entire life.
Yep.
A really good show, funny, and then it kind of finishes a full season. So I watched a season in a day,
Wow.
which is probably a comment on the amount of time that I have, but it was also so funny. I found it, like, I could liken it to, imagine that storyline, but it's kind of the vibe of like a Robin Hood Men in Tights, like silly.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. It's not like
Yeah.
it's not trying to be fully serious the whole time.
Nah, so their whole thing is that they're trying to. God makes a bet with them. He gives up Steve Buscemi as God, and then he's going to blow the entire world up because he's just given up. He can't do it anymore. But then the angels say to him, "Well, if we can make these two people who are destined to love, but once we get it together, if we can make them kiss by the end of the week, then you don't get to blow up Earth." So they spend their whole time just trying to get these people impossibly together, and it's just one calamity after the next. But it's really funny and just kind of lighthearted and just funny to watch him just be weird.
Yep. Yeah. It looks like it's a strange one just based on like looking at
It
the
is.
photos of Buscemi and stuff. I'm like, oh, that looks
Yeah.
very.
I mean, he's weird at the best of times.
Yeah, he's an interesting looking dude.
Yeah. So they have that one, but then they've already gone into season 2. I've already watched the entirety of season 2. The thing that got me when I didn't realize it was based on this guy, like a humorous novels or his short stories, was it was the exact same cast in a completely different story in a completely different role, um, under the same name. So they went from Miracle Workers, then they do Miracle Workers, the Dark Ages. So then Daniel Radcliffe goes from being an angel, all of a sudden he's then a prince who has pet ducks and is trying to find love as a prince. And it's this whole other thing, which is just, it's fun to watch him just then change. It's kind of, yeah, it's like a extended sketch show almost. Now going into season 3, it's the Oregon Trail, just to become a priest. So like he's really just tried to get out of wizard.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of like I know at the moment the American Horror Stories is doing like an anthology thing where it's a lot of the same cast but just totally different stories every episode.
Yeah, and I like it. Like they're good actors. So as long as it took me ages to get my head around stop seeing them as angels. Like I was waiting for like angels again all of a sudden. But after I got through that, it was just, yeah, funny.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part with those anthology things, to then look at it and be like, okay, let's totally separate what I've just watched. This has no connection, but it's all the same people.
Yeah, especially if they don't really make it very clear on the actual streaming service or on like the little blurbs. I had to go on Wikipedia and work out what was happening. But yeah, it's funny.
Fair enough. And speaking of sort of follow-on seasons, I watched the first episode of season 2 of Ted Lasso on Friday. Did you end up watching the first season?
Yeah, I did. Got the whole first season, and I got Apple TV specifically to get the next season of Ted Lasso.
Oh, awesome. That I think that speaks volumes for the quality of this show then.
Yeah, Anne and I both love it too. Like, it's not just the sporting aspect to it. Like, just some of the one-liners and stuff he comes out with, and just the genuinity of the character. Like, he's just a good, funny, kind-hearted guy, and it's just a nice thing to watch.
Yeah, and all of the characters are like that too. They all have that sort of depth, and they all have a story that you want to see. Like they're not just okay, now we're stuck following this person for half an episode, and I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this season we're back following Ted, Coach Beard, Nathan. Who else is there? Keely,
But
Roy. Roy takes a nice detour in life here.
coaching the under-9s.
Coaching, yeah, his niece's under-9s girls' school team. Although Keely's trying to push him into being a TV pundit, which he doesn't like. I think my favourite part was his niece calling Roy out on his language. And he's like, I just put it on my tab. And then Keely goes, how much are we up to now? And she's like 1,300 and something pounds. It's like, oh, Roy, that's an expensive tally you've built up there.
Wasn't the part where under 9 girl was happy about getting a red card for elbowing the other under 9 girl in the throat?
That was also good. That I feel like that's going to be Sean's daughter in the future.
It could be. Win at all costs. It's nice though. It's funny watching them and just I like that they actually just link it into the leagues. Like they have real actual teams playing, but the kits and the names of the teams and like they're not trying to steer away or make it fake. Like they're playing against Man City or Nottingham Forest, and it's just the only thing they've really done is substitute themselves in for Crystal.
Yep. Yeah, and it's all filmed. A lot of it was filmed at the Crystal Palace Stadium. It's clearly just the Crystal Palace kit with Richmond FC on it. What else did we have in this episode? Oh, Danny Rojas killing the mascot.
Yeah, it's good. Like it's good that it's continuing on too. Like you could feel like it might just have one season and they give up on it, but I'm glad everyone got behind it and they've continued it. It's nice to have something that's just genuine and kind-hearted and yeah, Danny Rojas going into sports psychology and being open about psychology stuff I thought was quite cool too. A little bit of a different angle.
Yeah, I loved this first episode and it's a good sign that we're on a similar trajectory for season 2 of just being humorous, uplifting, upbeat the whole time. There might be a few like down points, obviously killing a dog, not the nicest thing, but they make it uplifting in the end. And some of the like you mentioned, people got behind it, and it did really well last year in terms of awards with season 1. Have you seen the amount of awards that show got nominated and won?
No, I haven't.
So it won multiple awards. It got the Critics' Choice Best Comedy, Best Actor in a Comedy, Best Supporting Actress for Rebecca, actual multiple Best Actors for Jason Sudeikis with the Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, and the Screen Actors Guild. Best Comedy Series and New Series at the US Writers Guild. It won a Peabody Award for writing, so like it just shows that there seems to have been a lot of thought and effort put into this show. It wasn't just, okay, Apple's got a heap of money, let's put a cast together and rush something out. Like they've really put in the effort to make this a good show, and it came out at the right time too. Right in the pandemic, everyone's stuck at home. They just want something happy.
Yeah. Well, I think what it does is it really connects funny parts of being American and sport and the funny parts of being British and their sport. Like they poke fun at themselves for each other over and over and over.
Yep.
I really, really like.
Even like Trent Crimm always introducing himself the way he does.
Yeah. Or even like they were saying when they're on the run of they can only get a draw, they can't win. The British only refer to it as being bad luck.
Yep.
The Americans refer to it as being bad performance, or the New York Jets.
Yep. Yeah.
Which I like. There's a lot of those little sort of idiosyncrasies that they can pull up on and laugh at. Not being able to say the yips out loud.
Yep. Is that something that you find in your locker rooms? You're not allowed to say certain words or do certain things?
You don't want to feel like you got the yips, no way. And I'm a massive, like people have their own weird superstitions and stuff. I'm huge for superstition. I only put my right boot on before my left boot. The drink bottle's got to go on the right side of the goal. Got to wash my gloves a certain amount of times. And it feels like as you get older, you get more and more of them. But yeah, if you feel like you got the yips, it's all over. So I wouldn't want to say it out loud.
Yeah, it's like as soon as you have one good game, like, okay, what did I do different? Now I have to do that.
Most of the time, you just stop thinking about it.
And I was looking at some of the trivia for the show. You know the scene where Ted runs out of the office and like jumps and hits his head in the door frame?
Yeah.
Apparently that wasn't in the script. He just ran, jumped out, and actually hurt himself on the door.
At least they got some good out of it.
And Roy Kent is based on Roy Keane. I think that's
Yeah.
a pretty obvious reference there. The motto for Richmond FC is Gradius Firmus Victoria, which translates to slow and steady wins the race. And I think that's such a cool little thing with the way the series goes, where they're never dominating. They're just like, let's just keep plugging away and we'll get there eventually. And Zach Braff directed episode 2 of season 1, which I didn't realize until this week.
Right.
I was like, oh, interesting. He was apparently
Not always the same director.
No, he was apparently just in London, and they were like, do you want to do this show? And he's like, okay. Apparently that's a pretty common thing, though, in TV, where a whole season isn't necessarily directed by the same person.
Okay. I never thought that.
Yeah, it seems to be like it falls more on the producers' heads to make sure that it all has a similar vibe and similar feeling and flow the whole way through the season, rather than specific directors. Like, I know Game of Thrones, nearly every episode was directed by a different person in that last season, which that last season not the greatest, so might not be the best example, but yeah, it's a pretty common thing.
Zach Braff doing Ted Lasso, the realm of possibility. They're like, it's a pretty similar vibe to Scrubs.
Yep, yeah, uplifting, silly the whole time, just making fun of an interesting profession. And what else have you been checking out?
What else have I done? I have finished an audiobook that I thought was interesting. So I did on Audible again. I've just been, when I could drive places, enjoying listening to audiobooks on there still. So I'd listened recently to the Matthew McConaughey autobiography called Greenlights, which had a lot of good reviews, and I'm not a huge McConaughey fan. I'm probably like most people that really thought Dallas Buyers Club was really good, and just thought he was hilarious in Wolf of Wall Street. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I wasn't huge a fan of anything that he'd really done, but the reviews kind of are what pushed me into it. Yep. And I was really, really surprised like how good this book was. Like, it's got a real McConaughey vibe to it. You see, the bloke he is, that he rates himself pretty high, but he's not really ashamed of that. And it's like he kind of talks to it as the way he's gotten so far as to believe in himself. And the premise of the book is looking at different green lights and red lights in his book, and knowing when a red light tries to tell you to change, and knowing when a green light appears in your life to follow it. It was really, really quite good. So I didn't realise he came out and he lived in Australia for a number of years doing exchange. Had a lot of different experiences, lost all the weight and stuff that he was doing for Dallas Buyers Club, and it really goes in depth with a lot of his life and how it could have gone a lot of different ways. But really interesting short sort of stories in each chapter, and I think it's always good with Audible when they have the actual author, in this case Matthew McConaughey, narrating work. It just gives it a little bit more storytelling quality to it, I guess. Like, it's a lot easier to kind of go along with,
especially when it is like a biography style. It's not someone telling us a fictional story, it's somebody actually talking about their life. So
yeah, exactly. And no one's going to do it more passionately than him.
Are you finding that you're struggling to sort of keep up with the audiobooks now that we are all stuck at home?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I'm kind of been able to do, because I went from that one and then went into, now I'm doing Seth Rogen's yearbook, which he's even taken another level further than McConaughey did. Like, it was really cool to have McConaughey every time he said, all right, to have him do it. That Seth Rogen has gone as far as not only narrating his own book, but then he has, I guess, voice actors come in and do. So if he has a flashback, we use teenage voice actors to do him and his friends, and they actually has like background noise and kind of sets the whole scene, like almost seems like a radio play, I guess. Like, it's good. I'm enjoying it, and I'm kind of getting through it. I usually use it when I drive to and from work. So in this case, I'm kind of using it more if I'm doing the vacuuming or something like that, or I'm having a break. So it is a nice thing to be able to have in your back pocket, but price of Audible per month to keeping up with the books. Like it's just barely scraping through for me at the moment.
Yeah, like I guess if you were driving every day, it would make a bit more sense. But now that you might listen to it 2 or 3 times a week, it's a bit on the edge.
Well, I think it's about $15 a month for the audio credit, and then you can download whichever book you like. And I was getting through that within a month when I'm driving. But I mean, at the moment, I think the good thing is you can just put your account on hold. Typical with me, I'll put the account on hold, get through the book, and then just forget about it, and it'll automatically renew again, and then I'll start listening again. So we'll see how it goes for now. But there's a few good ones out there, and just really enjoying the actual authors narrating and having people do voice acting. I think makes it even better.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of sort of production value put into that yearbook one. I can't imagine that was a quick turnaround for them.
No, and it's really funny. Like Seth Rogan is funny already, and just listening to his stories about his own life that you wouldn't otherwise expect, and having the characters. You forget that Superbad was kind of about his life and his friends. So he's actually friends with Evan and Fogel in real life, and having the stories of them that weren't necessarily the stories that they included in Superbad or kind of portrayed in Superbad, then it's interesting.
Is that produced recently, or was that a while ago? Was it something that hey, we can't act
Recent.
on set, so let's just do voice acting?
I don't know. That's a good question. It's only a recent book. I don't know if he would have preferred for them to do it or not. It's probably an easy way for him to tell stories and keep it interesting with different voices and characters in there, sure. But yeah, it's only quite a recent book.
Okay. Yeah, I can't be certain, but it feels like it would have been one of those things where, hey, we can't get onto a film set, but we can all record our portions at home and then have someone put it all together.
Yeah, potentially.
Alrighty. You mentioned sort of Matthew McConaughey with his signature all right. I've been watching
you can do better than that.
I've been watching a show recently where the host uses that quite frequently. I've been getting into the show Forged in Fire. Have you sort of seen that at all?
I haven't seen that one.
So basically what it is, it's a competition show where every episode 4 bladesmiths come into a forge together, and it's a 3-round elimination, and they're asked to forge bladed weapons, and then they're tested against specific strength, sharpness tests, and each round someone gets eliminated, and then in the final 2, when it gets down to the final 2, they're sent home to recreate an iconic weapon from history in 4 or 5 days, and then come back and have that tested, and then the winner gets $10,000.
Yeah.
So it's on SBS Viceland every weeknight at about 6:15, and there's
Every weeknight.
Yeah, there's 7 seasons of this show, and there are about 24 episodes a season.
I didn't think that'd be that many bladesmiths in the world.
All US. There's nearly every episode has just been US people, and there was one episode I watched that was like the international episode, and they had someone from France, a US competitor, and someone from South America.
You don't have a Crocodile Dundee looking bloke go on there and say, that's not a knife, this is a knife. What a missed opportunity.
Yep. Well, I've only watched these couple of seasons, and I haven't seen an Aussie on there yet, but they need to do that at some point. So actually,
the Simpsons episode, someone just pulls out a spoon.
Yep.
It's not a knife, that's a spoon.
Yeah, there's actually 8 seasons, 175 episodes.
What? They're doing so good. Well, people must be into their blades. Is it good? Do you like it?
I do. It's like this weird guilty pleasure where it's like, I just like watching people make knives and then test them. And some of the challenges are so funny. Like they'll get there, and there was an episode last week. They rocked up and they're like, okay, here's the steel that you have to use, and unveiled a Panzer tank. So they had to cut steel off a tank to make a knife out of and then test that. And then other ones are, here's a table of fish hooks and ball bearings and just all random bits of metal. make a knife out of these. And
they're always knives. They make weapons that they do
so
swords and
in that sort of initial round, it's knives when it's all 4 people. But then once it sort of gets down to the final 2, they'll make swords, axes, throwing knives. What else have they made? Like these weird like spear spike things. They had to make a crossbow and all the arrows and stuff in one episode. Just crazy stuff. And like that first round, they're given between 3 and 4 hours to forge the metal and make the shape of the knife, and then get that judged by the 4 judges. And the 4 judges are like a master bladesmith, a weapons recreation expert, and Doug Markido, who's an edged weapons specialist. Like he does all choreography for fight scenes and stuff. And then,
be a cool business card to have.
Yep. He's probably one of the coolest
edged
judges.
Weapons specialist.
So then, yeah, after they've made a weapon, it's then judged and they have to meet specific parameters. It has to be a certain length and it has to have this sort of handle and whatever. The knife that is the weakest gets booted out. They're sent home with nothing. And then in round 2, the 3 people that are left are asked to then put a handle, maybe a guard and a pommel, and then they're put through the tests, which are generally a strength test where they bash it against wood, antlers, bone, and then they do the sharpness test. And then obviously the worst performing knife gets kicked out. Final 2, okay, you're making, for example, a samurai sword. You have 4 days, go home and make it, fit these parameters. They come back and then it's put through a kill test where Doug generally like stabs and slices through pigs, and at the end goes, "It will kill," or "It won't kill."
Yeah.
and then it's put through a strength test, which again is bashing it against either metal, bone, wood. Sometimes it's a flex test, so if they're making like a musketeer's sword that's meant to be really flexible, they'll put it in this vise and bend it left and right and to these pins, and if it doesn't come back straight, then it's failed. And then after that, then it's put through the sharpness test, and then the winner wins $10,000. So they've given away millions of dollars.
They've tried to make it like scientific in stages and be like, yeah, he's an edged weapons specialist or a bladesmith or whatever. Like, well, what are you going to do? Oh, let's stab this pig.
Yeah.
So technical. Let's see if we can cut this antler.
Oh, yeah. It's silly, but it's fun. At the moment, they're screening the Battle of the Branches, which is each episode is split up into Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. And then it's going to go into like a competition, and the winner from each one goes forward to the next round. So then it'll be an Army representative versus a Navy and whatever, until we get to whichever armed service has the best bladesmith, apparently.
I feel like it's better to have the armed services doing it. It kind of concerns me a little bit that there's however many episodes that there are out there, just random civilians making knives and stabbing pigs.
Yeah, but all of these like civilians are generally people that make knives for a living or as a hobby. It's not just, hey, you've never made a knife before, come into a forge and make this knife.
That'd be a good show.
But Lauren and I have been watching so much of this show that we now can sort of, as they're doing the test, we're like, oh, that guy failed. He's going home. I think we've only been shocked like once or twice. And we also noticed that on Binge season 7, they added, before the episode, they added the forging is dangerous. Please do not try this at home. And I was like, I wonder why they did that.
Someone got burnt.
Worse than that, somebody tried to make a knife at home, burnt down 3 buildings, and damaged 28 others.
You see, this is why I'm worried about you. You watch these things, you get these ideas. I know what you like. Be coming back on, you'll be missing fingers or something.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to make a knife at home, but I would like to find somewhere that teaches you how to do it.
See, you're already halfway there.
So, when I've got a nice cool knife and you don't, suck it.
Yeah, see, that's what worries me as well. I've got a knife and you don't. That attitude.
I come at you with my big knife.
Yeah, I'm not worried about your stab test. You're not getting through my antlers.
It's alright. It will kill. Watch out.
I say that. I say it like I don't enjoy like crazy knives. But we recently went for my birthday right before the lockdown. If you ever get the chance, I don't know if you've ever been to the restaurant. It's called, I'm going to say it wrong, Mjolnir in Sydney. It's based on Thor's hammer.
Oh, yep.
You been?
No, but I saw the photos. Yeah, like the big Viking themed restaurant, basically.
It is unreal. Like, it's underground and it's completely Viking themed. So it's like stepping into an episode of Vikings. Like you're waiting for Ragnar Lothbrok to come out and put you at your table. All the people that work there are in full Viking get up. You drink out of like a horn. Everything. It's like that. You get like big servings of like, they call it beasts, but it's big servings of like ribs, and they have like all these quails with the heads still on, and just all sorts of crazy Viking food. But my favorite part of being there was when they come out to give you food, rather than putting your knife and fork on your table like a normal restaurant, they come out, your fork's already there. The waitress comes out and unveils this leather wrap of just like 15 different weird, crazy, like bone handle, wood handle, different like mini sword knives, and you get to pick your favorite. So I pretend like I don't want a big crazy knife, but that was one of the most fun restaurants I've ever eaten at.
Yeah, see?
Highly recommend.
See, if we find somewhere to forge a knife, you can make your own bone-handled crazy knife. And you can use it all day, every day at home.
You can test it, but I don't know how it would look in there and said when they unroll the knives, oh, sorry, I brought my own.
I already got this one. It's specially made. It's like the axe throwing places. Have you ever seen those as well?
It always look really fun, but I always think it would wear off really quickly. Like actually, that probably links me onto the last thing I've been watching. But they did it as a date on this show I've been watching called Sexy Beasts on Netflix, where they wear the masks on their face.
Okay, yep.
But they did that date, and it just looks like really really fun for about 10 minutes. Then after you hit the bullseye and you can actually throw it in there, it's kind of just same thing over and over.
Yeah, like once you work out, okay, this is how I do it. Okay, that's how it sticks. Okay, I'm done now.
Yeah, the kind of the novelty wears off. The ones I've seen that I think look really cool as well though is the you've seen Joey went to one. It was in London, a dartboard one. They get a dartboard and you can play darts from your table, and it has like the electric scoring on a little TV screen as well.
Oh yeah, I can't remember what's called. There's one in the Gold Coast and there's one in Perth. I can't remember what they're called. I think they're like called Oki or something. And yeah, it's like
that'd be fun.
You get like a booth with it, your own separate dartboard, basically.
Yeah, that'd be fun. See that you can at least keep score and stuff. Like I think that's what you need. Something competitive. I always want something competitive.
I was gonna say that. That's right up the buddy alley, right there.
Yeah, true. The other thing I've been watching was Sexy Beasts on Netflix with the crazy masks. Have you seen that one?
No. When you said that's what you're watching, I was like, what the heck is he watching?
Oh, I've been waiting for it to come out. I watched if you get the chance, at least watch the trailer and you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's like, it's blind dating is the idea. The premise is that you are going on there. So each time it's either one girl and three guys, or one guy, three girls each episode. And the premise is that they're dating without being able to have physical attraction come into it, and they have to like the person for who they are rather than what they look like. Yep. So to make it blind, and to counter it though, they put the most outrageous special effects makeup on these people. Like they make them beasts. So I think so if I started out with the girl that was the lead out was a full red demon face.
Yep, that's the image I've seen.
Yeah, and I think she had a beaver, an alien, and one other, a rat, a mouse coming after her, and they look like full Like you just need to see the quality. They've like really not skipped out on the quality of the mask, and that's just what makes it for me. Like when you say the next one was a panda, the face actually looks like a panda. Like it's not just like a little cardboard mask. It's the full. I reckon they must be sitting these contestants there for like 4 hours before they start, and they just look hilarious.
Yeah, it's like full on movie special effects level makeup. It's not just
Yeah.
here's a silicon mask, chuck this on your head.
It's like proper fur and like you can't see their faces at all. Like, and it's the most exciting part about it is other than the shock of some like they give them dolphin heads. There's been a zombie, there's been pixies, a wolf, like just all sorts of weird stuff. There's no real theme to it. It's just whatever they've come up with on the day, and they just do it. I think one guy was a statue that had like cracks in his face and like moss growing off him. So there's no real rhyme or reason to what they pick, but seeing them dressed up like that and just they put them in normal, like the axe throwing, like normal date situations. They put them like they have a drink at a bar together, and everyone around them is just completely average. They're just staring at these people dressed as a zombie and a werewolf. And they're having so it's funny to watch them, and they have the premise of you're not supposed to be able to be physically attracted. But it seems to me that every single time someone gets the really unfortunate mask, like there was a girl that got flesh-eaten zombie with like bits of skin hanging off of her. She got voted out first. And then there was a guy that was sat between the statue guy and the beaver was a guy that was dressed like the little mouse. He got evicted first. Like it seems though with masks, people are still voting out ugliest mask first.
That's a bit silly.
Yeah, but I mean, and they obviously tried to get these intensely attractive people on there because pretty much every time it happens, vote out the flesh-eating zombie, and they're just absolutely human beings. And then the people in their masks and reveal each person, and then at the end they pick and they get to see what the other person looked like. And some of it's funny. Like it's not really there for the quality, but I love seeing the quality of the makeup that they use at the start, and I love watching the reveals at the end. The middle, depending on the date, is doesn't really matter too much, but it makes me laugh.
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like it'd be one of those shows where like if you were on it, you'd be like, oh, what mask am I gonna get? And then at the end, you just want to be there for the reveal at the end as well. The middle bit's kind of just like, yeah, whatever. Just go through the motions.
It's funny to watch them. Well, it's funny to watch like it was. I think the beaver and the demon went on a roller coaster together. It's just these weird things. I've seen them do average stuff. I think some of them go for like champagne picnics in the park, and they're trying to like drink champagne under the weird like mask and nose that they've got, or they go to the aquarium and the zoo. Like it's funny just to watch them in random places. The quality of conversation with people that would be on those dating shows is pretty predictable. Like they're not brain surgeons obviously, but it's funny to watch.
Yeah, very surface level conversations.
Oh yeah, and very intense, but it's just good quality trash TV.
Fair enough. And that's on Netflix?
On Netflix, and they just dropped the season at once, so you can straight it and trash it up for a whole day.
Nice. The last thing I watched was also on Netflix, and it's the animated movie called The Mitchells versus the Machines. Have you heard about this one?
Heard it was quite good. I haven't seen it yet. Then dragged away for something, but it seemed pretty good.
It is. It like really good. It had, for me, it was like it's a Sony Pictures movie, so obviously it has those same sort of vibes as Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in terms of sort of how it looks with the animation, but it's apparently Sony's first Netflix exclusive animation as well, and it follows this dysfunctional family as they try to save Earth from a global robot uprising that happens while they're on a road trip. Stars Danny McBride, Maya Rudolph, Eric Andre, Chrissy Teigen, John Legend, Blake Griffin, and Conan O'Brien. So it had this like crazy stacked cast. It was one where I heard all these people talking about like, hey, you need, like, just saw it on Twitter and stuff. Hey, you need to watch this movie. It's really good. It's a surprise good movie. Like Netflix put out this movie that's actually really good. You need to check it out. So I sat down and watched that over the weekend, and awesome. So good. So fun.
I have to check it out.
And it has, like, it's so obvious that the PAL robot that attempts to take over the world is just clearly like a play on Apple and Siri. Even like the guy that creates it is very sort of Steve Jobs-esque. And yeah, just a fun family movie that I definitely recommend people checking out. And lastly, that's pretty much everything we've watched. What is your top recommendation for the week? Oh. Did Buddy freeze? Buddy. We're back.
Can't
We're
see
all good.
anything. We're back.
What's your top recommendation for the week?
Top recommendation. They've all been pretty good, to be honest with you. I think Miracle Workers, for me, if I could sit there and watch a whole season of something like that in one day and just be totally happy with it, and just to watch Daniel Radcliffe just go nuts as an angel or as a prince, as something different, yeah, for me. Miracle if you got Stan and you were into something a bit Robin Hood Men in Tights vibe.
Okay. For me, obviously, Ted Lasso continues to be great, but there's only one episode out at the moment, so it's a bit hard to push that too hard. So I would say check out The Mitchells versus the Machines, because I think it's one of those sleeper Netflix hits where until people more people start to check it out, it's not going to get the recognition it deserves.
Be onto it.
Alrighty, thank you everyone for listening and watching the commentary booth. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on podcast services, here on Twitch, and also over on YouTube. You can follow Buddy on Instagram at a.b_CSEE for his lockdown life at the moment. Not so many travel pics this time.
Not yet. As soon as I can. I'm getting back tomorrow.
And you can follow me on social media at JamieApps Media and at Pario Magazine. We also are on Discord, so you can come over there and chat with us about your favourite media on there. And in a couple of weeks, we have a very special guest coming on. As of just over 12 hours ago, Robbie Eagles became the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, and he is joining us on the commentary booth to chat about the movies and TV that he watched in the quarantine period in the lead up to his big match in Tokyo. The commentary booth is a fan-funded production of JamieApps Media. You can support the podcast alongside our magazine at Pario Magazine, our magazine, Pario Magazine, on Patreon at patreon.com/JamieApps Media. The following people supported at the community support group level, and you cannot fathom how incredibly appreciative we are for their support. Brian and June Hart, Courtney Paulson, Tracy Apps. Alrighty. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll be back next week.